Hi, and welcome to the College of the Licensed Practical Nurses of Alberta's Year in Review. I am Curtis Koiker, President of the CLPNA. The CLPNA regulates the licensed practical nurse profession in a manner that protects and serves the public. We exist to protect Alberta's healthcare users. We regulate the profession by setting and maintaining standards for registration, practice, and conduct for practical nurses. Our focus and commitment to public protection underpins everything we do. The CLPNA is governed by a council, and this council consists of 50% regulated LPNs like myself and 50% public members that are appointed by the Lieutenant Governor in council to ensure that the interests of the public are always at the forefront of decision making. In 2022, the Council set a strategic direction to steer the CLPNA through the next 3 years as it implements legislative changes and prepares to integrate healthcare aides as a separate regulated profession. Our first strategic goal is that the public trusts the CLPNA as a regulator. We want to enhance collaboration and increase opportunities to receive input from our stakeholders. We also want the public to be able to find the information they want when they want it. Secondly, we want to support public benefit from the care of our registrants. Registrants should not work outside their legislated scope of practice. Registrants must continually learn in response to healthcare needs, and registrants need to meet standards of practice. The standards of education must respond to changing healthcare needs quickly. And finally, our last strategic goal is that registrants value the CLPNA. Stakeholders need to trust CLPNA's role in regulating the profession. Our financial, human, and tech resources need to meet the ever-changing needs. Our employees live out our values because this is who we are. The Council approved policy changes in 2022 related to labor mobility in Canada to support enhanced collaboration and confidence. We also set a direction for the CLPNA to provide more options for internationally educated nurses to have their credentials assessed for registration in Alberta, with the aim of removing process barriers. The Council continues to guide the CLPNA in implementing legislative changes, including Bill 46, the Health Statutes Amendment Act. Bill 46 set forth requirements to ensure that the health profession's regulators do not perform functions that would be considered a role of an association. And that is why the CLPNA will no longer be having or hosting an AGM. 2022 was an extremely busy year for the Council and for the staff at the CLPNA. I want to take this opportunity to thank the CLPNA staff for all of their hard work in executing the Council's strategic direction. I also want to thank LPNs across Alberta for their dedication to the work they do as nurses and the Albertans that they serve.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Wise. I have the privilege of serving Albertans as the CEO and Registrar for the College of Licensed Practical Nurses of Alberta. The CLPNA regulates licensed practical nurses in Alberta. CLPNA regulates by setting requirements for practical nursing education, registration, and renewal. We oversee compliance with legislation and regulation, and we set practice, conduct, and professional standards for the profession. CLPNA also provides approval to practical nurse diploma, refresher, and advanced practice programs, and supports currency in practice through our competency program. As a regulator, everything we do is for the protection of the public. I'm proud to say that our organization has made great progress in achieving the strategic direction set by CLPNA Council. CLPNA priorities are focused on our key pillars of enhancing collaboration and confidence, strengthening service delivery, and evolving professional competence. In 2022, the CLPNA established values that shape our organizational culture. CLPNA values a commitment to fair and responsible action, a thirst for knowledge and innovation, and a connection and trust in each other. This year, CLPNA developed diversity, equity, and inclusion principles to help guide how our organization approaches work, makes decisions, and interacts with stakeholders. These principles are integral as we plan for the future and ensure we are responsive to Albertans' needs. Today, we want to give you a closer look at some highlights of what the CLPNA accomplished in 2022.
My name is Melanie Terrian. I am the CLPNA's Deputy Registrar and Director of Registration and Competence. The Registration Department oversees LPN applications, registration renewals, and the Continuing Competence Program. In 2022, the CLPNA's Registration Department assessed our internal regulatory procedures and focused on projects to streamline processes for applicants coming from outside of Alberta and outside of Canada. We updated our English language proficiency policy to reflect new testing benchmarks and allow applicants to provide alternate ways to demonstrate language proficiency. For our Canadian applicants, we proposed changes to our legitimate objectives that recognize how scope of practice has changed across the country. These changes will reduce requirements for applicants coming from most provinces and territories in Canada. For our international applicants, we developed more options to have credentials assessed. This includes the Alberta Licensed Practical Nurses Competence Exam, which will provide applicants with an alternative option for showing competence in practical nursing. The new Nursing Community Assessment Service will also give internationally educated nurses a new pathway to registration. We've also been working on projects to support all applicants and registrants. For example, there are now more opportunities to take the Canadian Practical Nurse Registration Examination. We have also developed a registration standards policy to enhance transparency and an applicant experience survey to inform future process changes. As part of registration, we collect statistics on Alberta LPNs. Here are some of the numbers from 2022. We had 19,969 total registrations, a 6.1% increase from 2021. We had 1,275 Alberta graduates register with us, 922 new Canadian members from outside of Alberta, and 51 new international members. Our Canadian registrants from outside of Alberta most commonly came from Ontario, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan. Most of our international registrants came from the Philippines, India, and Nigeria. Alberta LPNs work in a variety of settings across the province. 34% work in hospitals, 26% work in long-term care, and 14% work in the community. A large majority of LPNs continue to work in major urban centers, with almost 2/3 living in Edmonton or Calgary.
My name is Tamara Richter, and I am an Executive Officer at the CLPNA. I am overseeing the integration of healthcare aides, or HCAs, as a separate regulated profession. In 2020, the Health Professions Act was amended to allow for regulation of HCAs. When these amendments are implemented, HCAs will become a health profession regulated under the Act. The CLPNA will be the regulatory college for two distinct professions, LPNs and HCAs. At the end of 2022, there were over 32,000 HCAs enrolled on the directory. That is an increase of 4.6% from last year. More than half of HCAs on the directory work in a nursing home or long-term care, and almost 69% of them work in urban regions. The CLPNA is working with HCAs, the Government of Alberta, and a broad group of stakeholders from across the province towards regulation. In 2022, the CLPNA prepared for the regulation of HCAs by building our internal capacity. This means determining where we need to expand our human resources and building a regulatory framework and infrastructure to support the regulation of HCAs. In early summer of last year, we launched videos and held forums to foster improved communications between the CLPNA, HCAs, and stakeholders about regulation. The information gained during these sessions confirmed that regulation will bring new recognition to the contributions of HCAs as members of the healthcare team. It will also bring clarity around the HCA role, responsibilities, and accountability. Preparations for the regulation of HCAs are continuing in 2023. The CLPNA will provide a timeline as soon as there is a date for regulation. Until then, we continue to update and engage in this topic.
My name is Sharon Semnick, and I am the Director of Practice and Policy at the CLPNA. The CLPNA's Practice and Policy Department supports understanding of the CLPNA's regulatory framework and how it applies to LPN practice. Our work provides evidence-informed knowledge to the public, registrants, and other stakeholders. In 2022, we released several documents, including registrant policies, guidelines, info sheets, and interpretive documents. Topics included medication management, fitness to practice, privacy legislation, duty to report, and confidentiality. Our department also provides clarification on the LPN profession through practice inquiries. Any stakeholder, including registrants, members of the public, employers, and educators, can contact us to request clarification related to LPN scope of practice, legislation, and regulation. In 2022, the CLPNA received over 1,800 practice inquiries, with the most common topic being professionalism and leadership, with almost 600 inquiries. We also received a significant number of inquiries on medication management, nursing practice, dermatology, and aesthetic nursing. If you have any questions about practice or policy, please contact us through Ask CLPNA on our website.
My name is Sana Sidhu, and I am the CLPNA's Director of Professional Conduct. Our department oversees complaints made against regulated members under the authority of the Health Professions Act. A complaint may be initiated when an LPN fails to meet the guidelines of practice, including standards, the Code of Ethics, and other legislation that guides the profession. The Conduct Department receives complaints, and if we determine it is within our authority, we initiate an investigation. In 2022, the CLPNA received 148 new complaints. Most of these, 94 in total, were received from the LPN's employer. 47 were submitted by members of the public. The most common categories of complaints in 2022 were unethical conduct, clinical competence, and unprofessional communication. The Conduct Department also manages the resolution of complaints after an investigation has concluded. There are a number of possible resolutions to a complaint. If there is no evidence of unprofessional conduct on the part of the LPN, the complaint will be dismissed. 35 complaints were dismissed in 2022. The CLPNA may resolve a complaint through a consent resolution process, which is initiated after obtaining agreement from both the investigated LPN and the person who initiated the complaint. Consent resolution was the most common resolution for complaints in 2022, with 68 complaints being resolved in this manner. A complaint may also be referred to disciplinary hearing, which is a formal legal process where a hearing tribunal functions in a quasi-judicial role similar to a court system. 12 hearings were completed in 2022 with 11 findings of unprofessional conduct and 1 decision that remains outstanding.
My name is Charlene Schroeder, and I'm the Director of Professional Development at the CLPNA. Our department delivers professional development or continuing education related to regulation. This includes education focusing on professional standards of practice and the Code of Ethics, as well as specific continuing education related to restricted activities and advanced practice. Professional development offered by the CLPNA assists in holding LPNs accountable, ensures public safety through the maintenance of competence, and supports the minimum standards for education and practice. Any professional development that the CLPNA offers must be consistent with the Health Professions Act, LPN regulation, Code of Ethics, standards, policy documents, and other relevant legislation. The Professional Development Department often works with the Practice and Policy Department to identify areas of educational need and opportunity. We also develop courses in collaboration with external organizations and subject matter experts. In 2022, the Professional Development Department hosted 30 webinars with nearly 6,000 attendees. These webinars covered a variety of topics, including connecting regulation to LPN practice, continuing competence, immunization practice and regulation, and understanding restricted activities. Over 43,000 online learning modules were completed throughout the year. These included our mandatory module, Understanding Restricted Activities and Advanced Practice, which provides LPNs with an overview of the standards of practice on restricted activities and advanced practice. The Professional Development Department has many webinars and modules planned for 2023 to continue to support registrants and the public through regulatory education.
As you can see from what has been shared, we have had a productive year at the CLPNA. I want to share thanks for the hard, innovative work with keeping focus on the interest of the public that we serve. I want to thank all healthcare professionals for their dedication to their professions and to ensuring Albertans receive safe and competent care. Looking ahead, the CLPNA will remain focused on being innovative while responding to the needs of the health system. I welcome you to review our 2022 annual report that can now be found on our website at clpna.com. Please reach out to CLPNA if you have any questions about the information shared with you today.